Thanks, Tim, and thanks for the opportunity to explain to you what you might need to know about NIHR and how it can help you and us in fighting antimicrobial resistance. So I'm Saul Faust, I'm the director of the research facility in Southampton, but we have an enormous amount of resource available, and it's available to you as well as to us over at the Faculty of Medicine. So NIHR, the National Institute of Health Research, the aim is to put 60 million people at the heart of the health research system to find better treatments across all fields, but AMR, antimicrobial resistance, is one of the key priority areas, along with obesity and dementia, for the current government. NIHR funds faculty, people, it funds research, they're called contracts, not grants when you get them from government, systems, so the IRAS application system, and infrastructure. This is money given to institutions to form an environment for people to do research. There's a real push at the moment, because there's so many different bits of NIHR. For us to see NIHR as one NIHR, and for everybody, wherever they are in the system, to be able to access the patients, the volunteers, and the infrastructure that's been put in place and paid for by government. So what can it do for you? NIHR is involved in discovery science, so you can interact with us, both the samples, the cohorts, the clinical expertise like Rob Easton was talking about earlier. For translational science, when you've got a piece of kit that needs testing, you can either come and test it over at the hospital, or you can receive samples with knowing exactly what the patient's got, what's happened to them. You could come and do proof of concept clinical trials with us. Or if you're a bit later in the development, then we might actually do the clinical trials themselves, and we might do multi-centre clinical trials with you and for you, with patients. The key are the things on the left-hand side. NIHR is expert in patient involvement. It's not just the Life Lab project and the BRC, Biomedical Research Centre of Nutrition, which has inputted into NAMRIP so far, but across all the infrastructure and brought together, the public involvement expertise is enormous compared to what is available here at the university. You guys can come over and make use of that. As well as the funding streams themselves, funding support is critical, and I'll explain how some of you have made use of that already. But there's something called the Research Design Service. So there are people paid, NIHR Research Design Service South Central, based over in the Faculty of Medicine. These people are paid to help you write grants, and they will find, as Rob Reed said earlier on, they will find you the methodologist, the health economist, somebody within this institution, or if you need it, experts from outside this institution across the country, if they will benefit your project. So people are paid to help us write grants, and the success rate for NIHR funding, if you use the RDS, is much, much higher. I haven't got their stats because I didn't have time to put it on the slide, but it's much higher than researchers putting projects in themselves. So across the country, this infrastructure exists. This isn't just about Southampton, because it might be that your best collaborator is at another institution, or it might be that we need to do a multi-centre study with you. The whole point is that you can get to 60 million people in primary or secondary care. Each region sort of exists around a hub, which is a university-hospital partnership, and each different university hospital has different building blocks of infrastructure. Without going into all the acronyms, we've got research centres and research units and research facilities and experimental cancer medicine centres, just to name a few. Oh, and in Southampton, we've got nutrition, we've got respiratory, we've got cancer as our big things. And we've got an experimental medicine clinical research facility, which is tasked to work with anybody from across the university or trust to deliver that experimental medicine early phase research. When we get later on into research, into the phases of research, then there's a clinical research network to help us do our studies. And these really terrible acronyms, such as the Collaborative Leadership and Applied Research Centres, or CLARCs, and the Academic Health Science Centres, which are about, if you ever hear of them, they're about turning clinical trial data into real-world data, working out what's worked in real-life practice and interactions with NICE. And many people in the room, actually, across health sciences, are also involved in that end of the research spectrum. So how things can work in the real life. Now, I don't want you to look at the detail in this slide, just to remind us all that we sit in an international environment, a national environment, and a regional environment, and then we've got our local partnership. And our local partnership here in Southampton over at the hospital that you've got access to brings the faculties on one side together with the hospital in the key things that Southampton are good at, as I said before, respiratory, nutrition, cancer, infection, immunity and bone and joint, just to name a few. Now our research facility is quite special because it's the only NIHR funded research facility that has MHRA Phase 1 accreditation. There are 4 publicly funded NIHR Phase 1 accredited units. But this means that you can use this to attract pharma to work with you because they might want to do their trials in Southampton with Southampton patients because they can use this regulated environment. As well as the so we host on the research facility senior investigators bring their research in, but fellows, nurses, scientists, postdocs, PhDs. Ray Allen, you heard from earlier, has been a postdoc on our unit for many years. But we try and help you guys when you need it over in engineering and biological sciences. This year, we've trained 10 engineering postdocs to take blood from each other and regulated it so that you don't get into trouble with the Human Tissue Act and you can take blood for your normal research, to test in your assays that you need to do over here on the Highfield campus. So if you need anything relating to patients or healthy volunteers, you can come and talk to us and we can try and use our funding to help you. The second thing that pharma are really excited by is the WISH Lab. This is the Wessex Investigational Sciences Hub. And this brings, led by Tony Williams and invested by the university and the hospital and industry, this brings together translation immunology, molecular microbiology, stratified medicine, nutritional science, and molecular genomics in particular, as a shared resource in a regulatory environment. This is really, really exciting to industry. Anybody can put a project in there where it needs a regulated environment. What that means is we know what's happened to the sample. We're tracking the sample as if pharma would have to do it, so that the data can then be used in regulatory submissions. Pharma love that because they don't have to do the experiment again. Normally when you do things in the university, you get a great result, you take it to the regulator, we've got this great device, we've got this great new drug, and the regulator go, well actually we don't know how you were handling your samples, go away and do a proper clinical trial. This lets you, scientists, work with industry right at the beginning bit of the development process to do that regulated work at the beginning so it doesn't have to be done again. And this is enormously exciting to industry. And there is major opportunity to get those partnerships going. And if you want to come and see that lab, you should come over and have a tour. So just to give you a couple of examples, I promised Tim some real life science. You're going to hear from Jeremy.
No minutes.
Jeremy's going to tell you about bacterial biofilms in a little while. We worked up the assays using the CRF and Biomedical Research Unit funding. This has brought a company to us to use the national network. We're enrolling us in a study in 8 centres, bringing samples into this project. And a company's come along to use this network and got a grant of $4 million from Wellcome to develop this new drug, combining the infrastructure together. We've got lots of facilities you can use. Bill Keeble has come over and together with Jackie Prieto and Rob Reed, myself, clinical infection people, trying to work out how to do the copper study using the Research Design Service, using the Health Economics at the Wessex Institute and the research facility to try and make that study happen. And of course the research biorepository can be used, I've talked to you before in a different meeting, but this is a way of you getting samples without having to go through ethics, and you can use our ethics application in your grant applications if you need patient samples for that.
We've got to end there.
So the final slide is about what you need. We've got to go through a funding cycle for 2017 to 22. We need you to tell us what work you would like us to fund on the unit over the next 5 years. Please do so afterwards today or email me. Thanks.
Thank you.